Hi, this is Lena Shea, an Iowa mom. And with all the turkey leftovers, it's kind of nice to do something a little different with it. I love this turkey pot pie. It's delicious. First, I bring out my prepared pie crust so that it gets to room temperature, and then preheat my oven to 425. I put 3 tablespoons butter and 1 tablespoon olive oil in my pan and turn it on medium-high. The olive oil helps keep the butter from burning as easily, but we'll still watch it. While that's melting, I'm going to cut my onion up in small chunks. Then I can throw it in the butter, and I will watch it about every minute to make sure it doesn't burn. To a bowl, I add 1 cup turkey or chicken broth and 3/4 cup of milk or almond milk. Now to our broth mixture, we're going to add 1/2 teaspoon salt, 1/2 teaspoon pepper, 2 teaspoons parsley. The parsley adds color and also nutrition. For even more flavor, I add a sprinkle of basil. To make that thick, creamy sauce, we're going to add 1/4 cup of flour and whisk it into the cool liquid. You never want to put it in hot or it gets lumpy. It looks like our onions are getting translucent. So we're going to stir in our liquid. It isn't going to take long to thicken because that oil is already hot. While that thickens, we're going to open up our 2 crusts. Do it gently and take your time so that it doesn't tear. Put it in my pie pan. I don't have to grease the pie pan because the crust has plenty of oil in it already. Just press that into the pie pan so it's evenly distributed. I roll out the other crust and set it aside so it's ready to go. Let's check out our broth here. Oh yeah, bubbling and thick. Turn that heat off. We want it to start to cool. Now let's put in 1/2 bag of the frozen vegetables. This doesn't have to be perfect measuring. What's nice is the cold of the frozen vegetables will help to cool off the broth, because we really don't want to have that hot when it goes into the pie shell or it will make it real soggy. Now it's time for the turkey. I use a plastic cutting board to cut meat so that it can be thrown into the dishwasher afterwards. I'm cutting it in small pieces, making sure there's no gristle, bones, or skin. I use 3 cups of the turkey that goes right into that broth. Now we can taste it. Add more salt and pepper if needed. And if it's cool, we're ready to put it in the crust. I pour it in, smooth it out. Now I stick my finger in a little water and moisten that edge of the crust. Now put the top crust on. Try to get it as close to the middle as I can. Okay, I'm going to press it down so that that adheres to the edge. Just trim this off, the excess. And I just rub the knife against the pie pan. I can press the edge with the fork, or put my index finger between my thumb and index finger on the other side, and then just press it together like that. And it makes it look a little more fancy. But you want to make sure it's pressed together real tight so that the crust does not come apart on that edge, and that's the reason why I like to use a little water around the edge, just to make sure it's completely adhering together. We need to put holes in the top, and you can do that either by poking with a fork, or you can take a knife and make some slits. But this helps to keep the steam from building up inside the pie and then blowing up your crust. Okay, my oven is heated to 425, and I put the pie on a cookie sheet, so if there is any spillage, it's not going to mess up my oven. I set my timer for 20 minutes. While I'm waiting for that to bake, I can make a pie crust shield. If you don't know how to make one, you could check out my video, An Iowa Mom Makes a Pie Crust Shield. When the timer goes off, I check that crimped edge. It's not quite brown, so I set it for another 5. Now that crimped edge is nice and brown, And so I can protect that edge from burning, I will put a foil shield on it while the rest of the pie is finishing baking. I set my timer for 15 minutes to check. It usually takes about 20, but it's safer to test it a little early to make sure it doesn't burn. I've been checking every 5 minutes, and this one is taking longer. I don't know why. We'll let it cool 15 minutes or more before serving. And even though the filling oozes out, it tastes really good, and it complements the texture of the crust. I know I list it can serve 4 people, but my husband and I were pretty hungry, and it was so good. This is Lena Shea, an Iowa mom. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to see more, go to youtube.com/an Iowa mom videos. Then click on the video tab for a whole list.